Hey, how's it going guys? It's Nate here. And in the world of Skyrim, there's a good number of romantic partnerships that you can find. Husbands and wives, boyfriends and girlfriends, whatever it is Braith and Lars have going on. The point is, despite a civil war and threat of annihilation, there's quite a few romantic relationships still being fostered. However, there are some lovers who would prefer to keep their relationships closely guarded secrets. Couples whose families disapprove of one another. Spouses who are having hidden affairs. So I figured as Valentine's Day approaches and we get ready to celebrate a Roman priest getting murdered, what better way to honor this holiday than taking a look at 5 hidden lovers in The Elder Scrolls V. Starting off, politics amongst the citizens of Whiterun is dictated by a feud between two major families, the Greymanes and the Battleborns. These two clans used to be as close as kin. However, with the outbreak of the Civil War, both houses decided to back opposing sides, and now the Battleborns and Greymanes fiercely despise each other. People from these clans can barely avoid coming to blows on the street when they encounter each other, so you can imagine just how unthinkable a romantic relationship between a Greymane and a Battleborn would be. But that hasn't stopped one from secretly popping up. John Battleborn, a young Nordic man who makes it very clear he's not nearly as enthused about this whole Civil War thing as his family members, and Ulfina Greymane, a young Nordic woman who works at the Bannered Mare, and also doesn't seem to be too thrilled about the conflict herself, both seem to definitely have something going on between them. If you happen to catch the couple together, which isn't very rare considering they have schedules that overlap quite frequently, they may engage in dialogue that reveals their hidden affection for each other, and desire to keep it hidden.
When you're done working.
I can't, not tonight. I need to go home. I swear my father is starting to suspect something.
That's your imagination running wild. Nobody knows how we feel about each other.
Don't talk about my father like that, John. And the answer's still no.
If it's work you're looking
tomorrow,
for,
definitely.
Helga's the one to talk to.
Furthermore, should you pickpocket Ulfina, you'll find a letter from John that emphasizes his love for her and wish that they could go public with their relationship. Likewise, if you pickpocket John, you'll find Ulfina's response that assures him that eventually their families will stop feuding, but until then, they have to stay quiet. This whole thing feels like it's ripped straight out of Romeo and Juliet, just less death and made-up verbs. Next on our list, Nivenner is the Dunmer Wife of Bolli, a wealthy Nordic fisherman in the city of Riften, known for his charitable nature and relatively kind heart. The two own a large house, and can often be seen dressing quite lavishly. Well, sadly, it looks like living in the lap of luxury isn't exactly quite enough for Nivenner, who may not be taking her marriage vows very seriously. And Bolli is catching on to her. A letter that can be found on Bolli's dresser titled Requested Report, written by an unknown author, likely some type of private detective, reads the following. Quote, Bolli, I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but your suspicions are likely correct. I've been following Nivenner as you requested, and I'm fairly certain she's had extramarital relationships with more than one individual within Riften. I have yet to obtain proof of her adultery, so please do not confront her with this information until I've secured it. I'll waive the usual charges for now, but expect full payment once the proof is in my possession. End quote. Exactly who Nivenner has likely been cheating with isn't made clear nor ever elaborated upon in the game. However, Bolli isn't so innocent himself either. I know, this is a bit of a 2-for-1 here, as Bolli is a potential target in the quest Caught Red-Handed, where it can be revealed that he has a mark of Dibella given to him by Helga, a female resident of Riften, known for her sexually promiscuous nature, and the Dragonborn can use this information to blackmail him. Unfortunately, not all the wealth in the world may be able to save this crumbling marriage. For third spot, Folk, Firebeard, and Bryleen are two relatively good-hearted Nords that sit on Jarl Elisif the Fair's court in Solitude. Folk is the Jarl's steward, and often seems to favor the Empire in discussions, whereas Bryleen is a Thane alongside her brother, and seems to sympathize more with the Stormcloaks. Despite these differences, both court members seem to be offering the best advice they possibly can, and are only interested in what's good for the city, which is more than what we can say about many players in Solitude's politics. But other than their shared well-meaning, there's nothing that really suggests the two are anything more than simple co-workers at face value. They don't carry around love letters or do anything nearly as obvious. But should the player sneak into Bryleen's Solitude home after dark, there's a small chance that Folk will actually show up, and if he does, the two might have the following conversation.
Falk, you shouldn't have come. You know what happened if people would find out about us.
I know, my lady. I just needed to see you outside the court, away from all of the politics.
I'm serious. If Eriker knew about us, he'd force you to resign from your position. And without you, he'd have the Jarl bent around his little finger.
You're right, of course. But when this war is over, I'll gladly resign and we can stop sneaking around like this.
One more reason to pray for the fighting to end, then, my love.
That's it, Fulk and Brylene are in love, or at least have a mutual crush on each other or something. But evidently, if the relationship became public, a corrupt court rival, Eriker, who is also Brylene's brother, would almost certainly use it against them. Such is the cutthroat nature of running a government. Luckily, their secret's safe with us. For a fourth spot, not even leaving Skyrim's capital, Bent is an elderly Nordic chef at the Bard's College. He's quite the grouch, and obviously isn't a big fan of any of the people he serves. Often he flat out badmouths some of the students directly to you. He's probably the last person you would expect to find love. But a look at his inventory reveals that the only item he carries is a single key to Yvette Sand's house. Yvette being an elderly female Nord herself, who is the city's most prominent wine dealer, though she's certainly a bit more popular amongst her neighbors than Bent. Furthermore, inside of Yvette's home is a huge table filled with cooking supplies and ingredients that a chef would likely love to have at his disposal. I'll let you connect the dots and make of all this information what you will. And finally, last on our list, since we already sort of mentioned her, remember Helga, the woman Bully's cheating on his wife with? Well, I was not joking around when I said that she is a bit promiscuous. You see, she owns Helga's bunkhouse, a small but popular inn within the city of Riften. And in her own personal bedroom, she has quite an interesting setup. In her room, you can find metal cuffs mounted to a bed, a statue of Dibella, the goddess of love, leather strips, a horker's tusk, multiple copies of the lusty Argonian maid, and much more. You get the point. Helga likes to fool around, and she's certainly not new to the game. Well, on top of Bully and numerous other unnamed men, as she states, Helga also seems to be doing the 20-toe tango with Hemming Blackbriar. Hemming is the eldest son of Maven Blackbriar, arguably the most powerful woman in Skyrim, if you discount a few gods and the like. Hemming himself is set to be her heir, and has 2 children of his own, as well as a younger brother. He'll even become Maven's steward should she become Jarl of Riften as a result of the Empire gaining control of the city in the Civil War. Needless to say, it would be pretty terrible for a man of that prestigious reputation if he got caught messing around, and Maven Blackbriar agrees. You see, the reason we know about this relationship is because when the Dragonborn is inside Riften and Maven and Helga are near each other, they may engage in the following conversation.
Helga, I like you, so I'm only going to say this one time. If you ever try and practice the Dibellan arts with Hemming again, I'll make sure that pretty little face loses its beauty.
He wasn't protesting, Maven.
Of course he wasn't, you stupid whore. He's a man. Now I'm not going to warn you again. Is that clear?
Very well.
My god, Maven really doesn't hesitate when she goes in for those low blows. I mean, evidently neither does Helga, but you get the idea. A relationship between Helga and Maven's son Hemming could be pretty bad for the Blackbriar family, and Maven's willing to do whatever it takes to keep that from happening. On the bright side, maybe now Hemming will finally have some time to communicate with his kids. Seriously, he has no dialogue with either of his children, like, at all. It's pretty weird. But anyway, on that terribly depressing note actually, we're going to wrap up. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. Which pair of lovers on this list was your favorite? Which ones are you rooting for the most? And what secret couples have you encountered throughout your travels that you would like to share? Leave a comment down below. As always, like ratings are very much appreciated, and I hope to catch you all in my next video. As we approach Valentine's Day, the Bella be with you.